or one of my favourite dislikes, Gareth Southgate. And I know you kind of lost interest in the Euros. I know, so you've not been watching. But Gareth Southgate, in the last England game, we played terribly against. Oh my gosh, I've forgotten who we were playing against now. Anyway, it was Serbia. It was a 1-1 draw against a team that are ranked 25th or something like that, and we're ranked first.
Are we?
Yeah. So England are ranked, were the favourites to win. I don't think they are anymore. So he's had an abysmal performance in the first game, an abysmal performance in the second game. His team, even Gary Lineker, who, as I said before, I despise, but made some very intelligent comments. And on Gary Lineker's podcast, which is not BBC affiliated, he actually said the game was shit and we played shit. He used those particular words, which obviously couldn't use on the BBC. And basically, even Harry Kane, who was substituted off, said we didn't have a game plan, we didn't know what to do, we didn't know how to press. And so suddenly, and it's strange actually, because Gareth Southgate was like a saint, wasn't he? And he was all the uber woke. He was the take the knee. He was one of the main drivers of take the knee and all that sort of stuff.
That's why I stopped watching England. Yeah,
that's why he stopped watching England. Uber woke. So there's been a bunch of criticism that's come out about him for the first time ever. But he's such an imbecile. He's even saying, "Oh, I'm not listening to the criticism." And he said something hilarious in his press conference yesterday. He said, "I'm my own biggest critic, and so are all the England players." meaning he was trying to say they're, but he ended up sounding like they're, and they probably are his biggest critics. I should imagine the England players despise him. He plays people out of position, and then even after the match, he said we're missing Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips is a midfield player who'd last played for England 3 years ago or something. And so it's not just he's just
looking for excuses.
Looking at excuses, but also he's basically saying the team he's got is crap.
Yeah.
So he is just again low intelligence. Somehow has ended up in the right position for political reasons or whatever. But I think I sent you an article because I read something. It was in the Times or the Telegraph, and people write comments. And you may not remember that we were knocked out of the finals of the Euros last time. On penalties. And what this individual wrote was basically that it was just a comment, but I thought it was very well written. And it said, it's about time this uber woke guy was go whatever. He deliberately he allowed 3 black players to take penalties in the Euro finals as a virtue signalling. And I read that, and
that was the BLM.
That was the BLM time. It was just as the BLM was happening. And I read that, and I remember that he did select 3 or more black players to take the penalty.
One of them, I believe, had never taken a penalty before in his life.
I think it was...
the Arsenal guy.
Saka. No, Saka, I think he... Well, I don't know. I did some...
there's only taken 1 or 2.
Yes, I think they weren't that... Saka was still very young, not very experienced.
Yeah.
Hadn't been in certainly hadn't been in penalty situations. Yeah. So he was a penalty taker, Saka, in Southgate's defence, but he was very inexperienced. Yeah. And I read that and I thought, could that be true? Do you think that could be true?
Yeah. Not as a conscious decision.
Right.
But as, when you're making these decisions, there's lots and lots of bits of information trying to help you make that decision. I'm sure that was one of them.
Yes.
BLM would take... how is it going to look now after taking the knee that I'm going to put 5 white players to take a penalty to win the competition? How's that helping black lives? That I put 5 people to take a penalty who are white and we win. I need some black players in there in case we win. Yeah, I can see that being a judgment call, yeah.
Now you say that, because I was thinking these things are kind of black and white, but then, forgive the pun. Yeah. But I wonder if I think that might have formulated some of his decision. Yeah, but I've never read it before. And I think it's kind of testimony to the fact that things are changing now, that a comment like that is not deleted.
Yes.
You
said that 4 years ago, police were knocked on your door.
Yeah.
Racist.
I agree.
So after the Man U player missed that penalty...
Yeah, Rashford.
And somebody sprayed over his portrait on the wall in Manchester.
Yeah.
And they wrote, shit in a bucket.
Yes, yeah.
That then got taped over and a racist incident was logged by the police, and the police investigated it as a racist incident.
Yeah.
The word shit in the bucket
Yeah, he's not racist. No. Yeah.
And then we had all those candles there.
Yeah.
People singing "Hope Not Hate" and "Oh Kumbaya, my Lord," and it was like it had nothing to do with race, but it was a Black Lives Matter era, and everybody was mental.
Yeah. But I think I think two things. One is, you're right. That comment would have been deleted. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a few people below it calling him a racist or whatever, but I think there is a shift now that people are talking about things like that. And even people are now laying into Gareth Southgate, because I think his career's been sustained by the Black Lives Matter thing. His tenure at England,
Yeah.
because he was so woke, I'll take the knee and all that jazz as well, because all that virtue signaling played into the idea he was saintly or whatever. I think there's more reality out there now.
And also, it's almost impossible for him to beat where he got last time. He got to the final last time, at the last competition.
Yeah. With arguably not as good players.
Yeah. The only way he beats that is by winning.
Yeah.
So no matter what he does now, he'll get more criticism anyway, because he's never going to get in the final again, probably.
Yeah.
And so he's always that's what people are looking up to now.
Yeah.
You were a penalty away from us winning.
Yeah.
The World Cup, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So he will get more. But I think before that, you're right, he was protected because he was the woke football coach.
Yeah.
And and kneeling and all that sort of stuff. And he was hard to touch then. He's a white saviour, don't touch him.
Yeah, correct.
I think he's in for hiding for not. This will probably be his last competition.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm actually hoping he gets sacked halfway through.
They don't do.
I hope they do really, but I mean, by the way, now, gentle viewers, they are playing tonight, so we can't let this conversation go on too long. But I'm hoping that it has happened before.
Has it?
In Africa's Cup a few years ago, the manager of the Ivory Coast was taken off halfway through, replaced, and they went on to win.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's the African Cup of Nations.
Racist.
Some African football teams play a game, and by the time the game's over, their country is had a coup.
They've got a different ruler.
There's a new ruler, so anything can happen in a Cup of Nations in Africa.
God, I can only apologise for Nick's racism views. Speaking of racism,
Afrophobia, that's what that is.
We talked about that, didn't we? Yeah.
Afrophobia.
I think that got quite a lot of views.
Did you like that video? I think you did. Hit the bell, give it a big thumbs up, comment, and don't forget, I'm standing for election in Oldham East and Saddleworth. So please share this video, speak to your family and friends if you live in Greater Manchester, and if you live in Oldham East and Saddleworth, make sure you vote for me. Catch you soon.